Okay, hi folk. What we're going to be looking at today is doing a little bit of concept development. We've already had a bit of a look at some different ways of developing concepts and coming up with new ideas and ideation using Scamper and MetCamIB, and they'll be coming in handy today. Alright, but what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be doing a little thing called Crazy 8's, as well as just a little bit of a twist on that, which is concept development as well. So what you have is you've got yourself a brief and you've got yourself some specifications. It's always a good idea before you do this to make sure that you just read through your brief and read through your specifications so that you know what it is that you're trying to design and you know what you're aiming for. When you get to a point where you're ready to do this, what you want to do is you want to have just two pieces of paper handy. The first piece of paper you're just going to get out here and you're going to fold it in half and then fold it in half again and then fold that in half again, so that when you unfold it, you'll have 8 different sections unfolded there. With those different 8 sections unfolded, before we get into it, it's quite good, again, just to have a little bit of a look over MetCamIB and just remember those different sections. It can sometimes be a good idea just to write that down the side of your list, just to give you a little bit of a prompter as you go. The reason why we're doing this prepping and thinking about these things fast is because the way this works well is when it's timed and you are in pressure and you have only a minute to do each one. So what we do is you get yourself a little timer, and with each one of these different sections you only give yourself 1 minute to be able to create a new fresh design. Alright? So you put the timer on and then you give yourself 1 minute, you go through that design idea, you do a couple of quick sketches, you do a little bit of a drawing, you maybe a couple of notes here and there, and then once that timer goes off, you're going to move on to that next one. And then you give yourself a minute to carry on and do that same thing again. As you go, you will get some really horrible ideas, that's kind of the point, right? But you also get some gems in there as well. And when you get stuck, you can kind of look over to your side where you've written down MetCamIB, and you can give yourself a little bit of a prompt. Oh, it can be chemical based. Or, oh yes, that's right, we can use biomechanical engineering, or biological rather, alright? And we can go through and we can use those as prompters as we go. So all things being well, this should be a quick 8-minute exercise. Where you go through there, and by the end of it you'll just have 8 short, sharp ideas. Some of them will be rubbish and some of them won't. Once you've got those 8 down there, they don't need to be good, there's no big pressure there, you can just put that to the side, and what you're going to do is you're going to get out your second piece of paper. You're going to fold that in half and break it back open, and this is unfold it back open, and this is where you're going to be spending a bit more of your time. Alright. What you're going to do is you're going to, with that page open, you're going to look at your 8 quick ideas, and looking through at those initial specifications, you're going to figure out which one of those work best to the specifications. Not necessarily which ones you think work best for you, which ones are going to be more likely, but which ones work best to those specifications, and just by quick judgment calls. And then we're going to take each one of those ideas and put it onto that half of your piece of paper, and then you're going to spend about 8 minutes on each one of those halves, drawing it out, writing out an explanation down the side of it, putting down a couple of notes, using some good annotation, and by the end of it you should have 2 solid ideas that, by looking at that piece of paper and that alone, I will entirely explain the concept and design just from a quick exercise. Alright, this is just a good way of getting some initial ideas out there, and it's also a good way of just doing a little bit of quick development as we go. Cool, that is Crazy 8's, and that is there now.